This extreme close-up shows the quality of a freshly harvested oyster, kept chilled on a bed of ice.
The journey ends here, as the oyster is served fresh, enhanced by a squeeze of lemon to bring out its complex flavor.
This extreme close-up reveals the intricate anatomy of the oyster. We can clearly see the mantle, the dark striated gills, and the translucent adductor muscle.
From the hatchery to the farm, and finally to your table, these oysters represent the culmination of careful cultivation.
From the hatchery to the high-end restaurant, the journey of the oyster is complete.
The process of bringing oysters from the farm to your table starts right here, in these clear coastal waters.
This is where the journey begins, off the coast of New England, where our oysters are carefully cultivated in these floating racks.
The process begins in the hatchery, where we carefully manage the water quality for the oyster larvae.
We keep the oyster seeds in these upwellers, which provide a constant flow of nutrient-rich water until they're large enough to be moved outside. Here you can see the Pacific oysters at the nursery stage. We monitor them closely to ensure healthy growth before they go into the open water.
We hold them like this to inspect the growth rings, ensuring they meet our quality standards before moving to the grow-out.
We check the spat daily to ensure proper growth and water quality before they are moved outside.
These juvenile oysters thrive in the algae-rich green water of the breeding trays, the first step in our farm-to-table process. This critical stage is known as spawning, where the male oysters release their sperm in milky clouds into the water column.
In the controlled environment of the hatchery, the oysters release millions of eggs and sperm into the water, beginning the life cycle.
Here in the lab, we grow the specific strains of phytoplankton that feed our oysters through their life cycle.
We have to maintain precise salinity and temperature for the larvae to thrive before they move to the nursery tanks.
These tanks are the first step. We closely monitor the larva's diet of algae to ensure a strong start before they head out to the farm.
Microscopic analysis is crucial at this stage. We monitor the larvae closely, ensuring optimal development before they leave the lab.
Under the microscope, we can see the dense phytoplankton culture. These single-celled organisms are the foundation of the oyster's diet.
Looks good. The algae count is stable and the larvae are developing right on schedule.
It all begins here, under the microscope. These are the oyster larvae, or veligers.
Here in the hatchery, the larvae are cultivated in optimal conditions. The microscopic view reveals the intricate process of shell formation as they develop.
The hatchery is the critical first step. We suspend the larvae in these specialized columns.
Here in the hatchery, we closely monitor the dense columns of oyster larvae as they begin to mature.
Here in the hatchery, we closely monitor the oyster larvae. They spent their first few weeks in these tanks before they are ready to attach to the shells.
These upwelling columns are essential for growing the algae that sustain the young oysters in the hatchery. In the hatchery, the microscopic oyster larvae attach to shells and become spat, seen here in high density.
The process begins here, on these coastal waters, where the oysters are grown in specialized cages.
At Othniel Oysters in Poole, the process of bringing the finest shellfish to your table begins.
Here on the barge, we use these upweller systems to give the young oysters, or spat, a constant flow of nutrient-rich water. We call this stage spat on shell. They'll stay clumped together until they're ready for the grow-out trays.
These are the young spat we grow here at the hatchery before moving them out to the beds. It takes about 18 months to reach market size.
This is where the journey begins. We carefully place the young oysters into the submerged racks, the first step from our farm to your table.
Watch your hands, steady now. Got it, set it down easy.
The racks are secured with durable clips to withstand the strong currents of the open water during the grow-out phase. The galvanized steel racks are carefully lowered into the coastal waters, where the oysters will grow for the next 18 to 24 months.
Once the oysters reach a certain size, they are transferred into these mesh bags, which are regularly shaken to ensure consistent growth and shape. Suspended in the clear coastal waters, these oysters are housed in specialized cages, safe from predators while they filter the nutrient-rich current.
The mesh bags are regularly hoisted from the water so the farmer can inspect the growth and measure the oysters to ensure they meet market size.
The oysters are measured regularly to monitor growth and ensure they meet market size requirements. This caliper gives us a precise measurement.
The racks must be regularly power washed to remove seaweed and ensure optimal water flow for the growing oysters.
Leaving the sheltered harbor, the oyster harvesting vessel begins its journey to the offshore beds, where the mature oysters await.
The journey from the farm to your table begins here, out on the open water, where our oysters are carefully cultivated.
The dredger is carefully lowered into the coastal waters, preparing to harvest the mature oysters from the seabed.
Steady, the cage is coming up. Get these sorted into the large bins now. Check the size on that one, worker two.
The oysters are sorted by size as they move along the conveyor system, a crucial step before they are packed and shipped. Once harvested, the oysters are immediately brought in for sorting, where they are graded by size and quality before distribution.
Workers meticulously sort the catch, occasionally discovering a true giant among the pile, like this one here.
This is a prime example of a 3-year-old. Look at the size of that hinge compared to my hand.
Here's the largest one from the batch today.
Shell integrity is excellent. It's ready for the chef.
We select only the largest premium oysters, straight from the farm, ready for distribution to the finest restaurants.
From the farm to the table, the process begins with careful harvesting. We keep the oysters wet and cold to ensure peak freshness.
After sorting, the smaller seed oysters are dropped back into the nutrient-rich waters to mature.
The day's harvest is secured, with thousands of market-ready oysters beginning their journey from the farm to the table.
Once harvested, the oysters are quickly transferred by crane to the sorting facility on the dock.
Here in the hatchery, the water is sterilized using high-intensity UV lamps, ensuring a clean environment free of pathogens.
We carefully inspect each oyster, checking the hinge and the seal of the shell to ensure its quality before it goes to the market.
All right, that's 50 pounds. Make sure the ice is evenly distributed before you seal it.
To ensure peak freshness during the journey from farm to table, the oysters are covered with locally sourced seaweed before being packed.
The oysters are carefully layered with fresh seaweed and then topped with gel ice packs to maintain temperature during transport.
Once packed, each box is clearly marked for rush delivery, ensuring the oysters arrive fresh at the restaurant. The journey from the farm culminates here, as the refrigerated truck delivers the fresh catch to the loading bay.
We handle the transport straight from the dock to the restaurant.
Ensures they stay fresh every step of the way.
Once harvested, the oysters are quickly transported in refrigerated trucks to ensure freshness from the farm to the table. Maintaining the cold chain is crucial. The oysters are kept refrigerated from the farm to the restaurant.
Trucks to maintain freshness during transport. Once harvested, our oysters begin their journey from the farm to your table, traveling along the scenic coastal route in refrigerated trucks.
Our state-of-the-art refrigerated trucks ensure the oysters arrive at the restaurant within hours. Every morning before dawn, our refrigerated trucks bring the fresh harvest directly to the city's finest restaurants.
From the tranquil waters of the farm, these oysters are delivered fresh to the finest tables in the city.
Freshly harvested this morning, just need your signature.
Perfect, they look excellent. We'll get these on ice immediately. Once harvested, the oysters are carefully packed and immediately transported to the finest kitchens, ensuring peak freshness upon arrival. And here we have the delivery, straight from the farm. They're kept pristine on this crushed ice.
The final step before serving is the freshness check. A truly fresh oyster should evoke the clean scent of the sea.
Absolutely perfect. The quality is superb.
These oysters represent the culmination of sustainable aquaculture, brought directly from the farm to your table today.
The culmination of the journey, presented with care. These oysters, harvested just hours ago, represent the finest our coast has to offer.
We'll have 2 of the large oysters, the ones harvested locally this morning.
Excellent choice, sir.
We have the half-dozen large oysters coming right up.
The chef meticulously prepares a bed of crushed ice, ensuring the oysters remain perfectly chilled before serving.
We apply firm, steady pressure right at the hinge, then twist the blade to pop it open.
The key is to find the hinge and apply firm, steady pressure. A quick twist and the shell pops open, ready to be severed from the muscle.
To properly shuck the oyster, you must sever the adductor muscle, ensuring the oyster remains plump in its own liquor.
The oyster farmer inserts the knife at the hinge. With a twist, the top shell is removed, revealing the plump, briny meat ready for the table.
The chef must be meticulous, severing the adductor muscle and carefully checking for any remaining shell fragments before presentation.
To properly shuck the oyster, slide the knife underneath the meat, ensuring it is completely free from the shell. The final step in the journey from farm to table, a dozen fresh oysters, expertly plated and ready to enjoy.
After harvesting, the oysters are meticulously arranged on crushed ice and topped with a fresh mignonette before serving.
The final step involves preparing fresh, locally sourced lemons, essential for the perfect oyster presentation. Once harvested, the oysters are delivered fresh to the restaurant, where the chef prepares them with a classic mignonette and a squeeze of lemon.
Here we are, the finest from the bay today. Handle with care.
Yes, chef. Beautiful.
The fresh selection for today, sir. Enjoy. Thank you, they look incredible.
From the estuary farm to the high-end restaurant table, the journey concludes with the freshest oyster selection.
This is a magnificent specimen. The briny aroma alone tells you the quality.
This extreme close-up shows the quality of a freshly harvested oyster, kept chilled on a bed of ice.
The journey ends here, as the oyster is served fresh, enhanced by a squeeze of lemon to bring out its complex flavor. The final touch, a squeeze of fresh lemon, causes the oyster to visibly flinch, confirming its freshness and quality.
A macro view reveals the delicate mantle of the oyster. Notice the slight contraction, a clear sign of life and freshness.
That is incredibly fresh. You can really taste the crisp salinity, the culmination of all that hard work.
It takes 8 months of careful cultivation, but the result is a flavor that speaks for itself.
From the hatchery to the farm and finally to the table, the process ensures a truly exceptional oyster.
And finally, the ultimate reward. The oyster, fresh from the water, provides a true taste of the coast.
Once plated on crushed ice, the oyster is finished with a delicate mignonette, ready for the table.
You can taste the freshness straight from the bay.
Absolutely superb. The minerality of the oyster and the crispness of the wine, they just sing together.
From the farm to this table, it doesn't get any better than this. Cheers.
From the nursery to the deep water farms, the result is a testament to sustainable aquaculture, perfectly presented here on the half shell.
Absolutely incredible. You can really taste the freshness.
The final step in the journey from farm to table requires speed and precision, as the chef expertly shucks the fresh oysters.
Once harvested and delivered, the oysters are kept chilled on a bed of ice, ready for the customer's plate.
Allow me to present today's selection, freshly harvested from the farm this morning.
The culmination of careful farming practices results in the finest oysters delivered fresh to your table.
Transport the oysters safely through the night, guaranteeing freshness upon arrival. To ensure the freshest oysters daily, the process starts here, on the water, at the break of dawn.